What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for episode 15 of Stone Ocean. This episode, man, was fucking incredible, man. I love this episode. A lot of amazing shit in this episode. And yo, shout outs to the storyboard artists as well as the key animators for this episode, man, because the detailing on the character models in this episode was absolutely insane. We'll talk more about that once we get to those parts of the episode. But without further ado, let's just jump right in, boys. So he starts the episode off with Pale Snake going off about the order of things in the cathedral. I'm gonna be real, I didn't even know what half the shit this dude was even saying was. I'm like, okay, population, whatever. I'm like, I have no idea what you're going off on, bro, and your fucking theories. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my review of the first half of for the first batch of episodes. Young, yeah, I love him as Pale Snake. He's great as Poochie Man. Fantastic performance from him. Anyway, so but basically gets to the actual point of why he even brought Sports Maximum over to the cathedral, and of course he wants him to resurrect Dio from the bone. Which, by the way, can someone tell me what part of the body this bone is from? Is this like part of the femur or something? Like, what is this bone a part of? And so anyway, Sports Master, he's hesitant to do it. He's like, oh, can we even get it? Y'all expect me to like resurrect something from just one bone? It's a part of a far more complex whole. Do you have a stockpile of his bones somewhere? And and he's like asking where he even got in the first place. Pale State tells him that's no concern of him, and then he says he got it from an old friend. He still kind of he still doesn't know if he can even resurrect just from one singular bone. He tells him it's from Dio, and that this is the only bone of his that remains. All the rest have been like turned to ash, and are with the wind and all that shit. So eventually Sports Maximum does agree to resurrect Dio from this singular bone. He says like, oh, don't worry, I've already done it. It's already taken care of. You're welcome. And then that's when Pale Snake looks at his hand, and the bone is gone, and now there's a huge chunk of his hand missing. Blood is flying all over the place from both Pale Snake and Father Pucci's hand, who's hiding behind a pillar. And he's like, and then that's of course when Pale Snake grabs Sports Maximum, and he's grabbing his throat, and he's screaming at him, like, telling him, like, where is it? Where is the bone? Going into his inner Christian Bale Batman. Going his like, where is it? Yeah, honestly, just gotta remind myself. I'm also like, bro, how do you expect this man to tell you what happened to the bone when you're literally strangling him? He cannot speak. How do you expect him to talk? Anyway, well, amongst the strangling, he tells him that he has no idea what happened to it. He swears to God he doesn't know what happened to it. He eventually lets him go, and that's when Pale Snake realizes that that the heaven deal was telling him about was indeed real, and that the search for the bone will continue, but they will put it on hold for now because the bone needs to choose its own path. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea what's going on with Dio's bone. How it suddenly left his hand is now one with the walls. Apparently, I don't know how any of this works, but I don't know. They'll probably explain how all this shit's working later on in the series. But yeah, honestly, I gotta say, I was kind of lost. I'm like, how does any of this work? Why did the bone just suddenly gain sentience? Is now just chilling inside a wall? Is this the work of an enemy stand that we are unaware of, or something? Like, what's going on with this fucking bone? Anyway, whatever the case may be, with the bone, that's when we start to see the video get a little glitchy, and that's when we see that FF and Emporium are listening to the CD, and we see it keep playing with the bone on the thing before it eventually just pops out of Emporium's head, and and FF grabs the CD. So she tells Emporium that he watched Sports Maximum's memories, and that basically she needs help with trying to get access to it, and basically getting access to get Jolene out of the maximum security wing. Emporium can't really do much help because he can't protect Jolene, but also he can't even really get them there because it's on the southeast side of the prison, and you need to get a transport vehicle just to get inside. So you can't really sneak your way in through there. You have to get there by car. So there isn't really much he can do to help out Emporium. He even says that even though he knows how to get there, he still hasn't tried to get there himself. So then he asks Crisscross, I guess is his name, or Anastasia, I guess is also his name. I don't really know. I guess they're both like, well, I guess Crisscross is a nickname or something. I don't know how that plays into all this, but whatever the case may be, she tries to ask him for help. The dude just completely ignores him, and Important's like, oh, don't bother working with him. He can't. He's no help. And she keeps trying again. He just kind of ignores her before walking over to this bookshelf and just reading a book as she's trying to in trying to get him to join her, tell him like, oh, I'll do whatever you want, I'll make it worth your while if you take me if you take me to the mass security wing. She tries to get him, she tries to convince him, but nothing is working. Emporium once again tells him that stop trying, that it's not going to work, and that he doesn't, that kindness and kindness is not a part of his personality, and that in fact he is a cold-blooded murderer. Excuse me. He is a criminal, but he is a murderer, and that's probably why he's in this prison to begin with. So he tells us that So he tells us that Anastasia has this weird habit or complex where anything he touches, he has to dismantle it and deconstruct it. Whether it's a laptop, a watch, a game console, or even a fucking Porsche. Which, first of all, this is insane to me, man. This kid is 10 years old. This is like some Riri Williams bullshit. Where this kid was 10 years old and somehow he managed to take a Porsche completely apart, remove everything from it, the seats, the fucking engine, the car hood, every part of this car you can think of that could be taken out of this car, he took out of the car, man. It's also kind of impressive. And then we find out at age 21, when he went to visit his then girlfriend at the time, unannounced, he walks inside, he actually finds her cheating with another man. And I gotta say, I love the shot where they do a close-up on his eye, and you can see the reflection of his girlfriend in his eye. I thought that was a really nice shot, man. I love that shot. So afterwards, he did. So after the shocking revelation, you know what this man does? He separates them by chopping them into a million pieces. Yeah, that's probably how he wound up in this prison to begin with. And then, right when his FF is about to pull out her like little FF bullets and she's about to shoot him, that's when Anastasia agrees to help her. And I gotta say, love his dub voice. I don't know who voiced him in the dub, but I love his voice, man. I thought he had a really great voice, and I think he overall fits the character. And I just think his voice is overall just really nice, man. So shout out to his VA, man. I thought he really took his VA. So so that's when he gets close to FF and tells like, oh, don't worry, I'll help you out. And he even says that, oh, this bone that's in such high demand, I will help Jolene look after it. I will look for that as well. That's when he gets sucked in. That's when he goes out of the little crack that takes him back outside. Gotta say, love the sound effect they play when they like get sucked into the little crack. Sounds really nice. That's when Emporium catches up to Anastasia and asks him what he's planning. What is his plan? Why is he doing all this stuff? He's like, oh, no worries. I just want to help Jolene, just as I said. But we find out what the catch was. He took what FF said, that I'll do anything to help Jolie, anything you want, literally, because he tells FF that the condition for him helping her is that he gets to marry Jolene, and he wants FFs to give her blessing. Because of course, I swear to God, bro, every time in every movie, anime, whatever the fuck, whenever a character says, I'll do anything you want, I'll do anything to do whatever, get whatever they want, they always go for like the most absurd shit for it, man. It's always like marriage or something else ridiculous, man. It's always something ridiculous in these types of situations. But that's when he stood. Once he after gives FF the conditions, she is obviously shocked by this, that he wants to marry Jolene of all things. So then he rushes towards like this like a gate or like control like power box or whatever and kicks it with his stand, Diver Drive. Gotta say, I fucking love the design of Diver Drive. I think it's a really sick stand. Especially I like the little like detailing on like the sole of his foot. I think the little like the little design that's on there, man, looks really cool, man. Seriously. The stand itself, in terms of design, is probably one of my favorite design. It's probably one of my favorite stands in Part 6 is Diver Drive. Just if we're talking purely based on like the design and the look of the stand, Diver Drive is probably one of my personal favorites of Part 6 so far. I really dig the design of it. Anyway, after he kicks it, then he just like kind of walks away as like a bunch of security guards come rushing in there with their guns and shit. One of them puts in his key card, and then all three of them just get super kicked through the freaking wall by Diver Drive. The gate opens, smoke comes out of there, and Imperial tells FF that this is the power of Diver Drive. And then, of course, he poses with his stand, and it's literally like the pose this dude does, bro. It's like peak JoJo posing. It is the most JoJo pose in all of JoJo that at least I've seen. I saw a pose, I'm like, that is the most JoJo pose I've ever seen, man. So after that, that's when we get another flashback back with Father Pucci and Dio from like pre-part 3 or whatever this takes place in the JoJo timeline, where Father Pucci asks him what is the weakest stand he's ever seen, whether that is something he found or something that he newly manifested. And Dio replies, for any pursuit in life, someone should pick an occupation that best suits a personality. A king feels like a king, a chef feels like a chef. Strength and weakness doesn't really apply to them. That's when Father Pucci knows he kind of phrased the question kind of wrong, and then rephrased it as more like if like kids arguing who would win in a fight, like Stallone and Van Damme. Remember, Stone Ocean, when it was published in Weekly Shonen Jump, came out during the '90s, so both both Stallone and Jean Claude Van Damme were like at the peak of their popularity at this point. So. And then that's when Dio says Survivor is the weakest stand that he has, and that he says is not controllable. He goes into like the origins of the stand, how it found, where like these group of like hikers in the 80s in France ended up beating each other to the death, literally beating each other to the death. They were punching each other through so hard the bones were constantly protruding out of their skin as they killed each other with their bare hands. And then a recon team found them and looked at the site to find them, and that's when they found, of course, that they were in brutal combat, and of course, like I mentioned before, that they all killed each other. It was eventually discovered that they stayed in a hut the night before, but the people who owned the hut, the woman had insulted one of the guys, saying that his body odor was vile. This sends him and the rest of the team into a blind rage, and that's how they ended up killing each other. Dio explains that how Survivor works is that it basically doesn't really do anything. It doesn't like mind control anybody. It more or less just influences them, gives a slight gives them like a slight whisper, a slight influence of like making someone a little bit more angry. It kind of works where like basically like the stand works in the ground, and that when the floor is wet, it works, and like a person makes contact with it, the little bits of voltage it does have transfers into the nervous system of the body, and then of course puts in its little seeds of doubt, its little seeds of influence about getting them more and more mad. It starts up pretty minor, pretty small, doesn't really affect them at all. But as time progresses, it can send them into a blind rage. So let's say someone insulted you and said you smell vile, bam, that's enough to send them into a blind rage, and of course have everyone start killing each other, which is what happened here with Survivor. So Ponterpucci asks Dio if he can have it, just to stand. And Dio says, "Oh, do you want it as a CD? If that's the case, that could actually work. Put it with the right person, and that could work really well." That's when we transfer back over to Jolene. And I gotta say, Jolene is like built different, dog. Like, this woman is insane because we see her, she's in her cell. She sees like some cockroaches around this one thing. She gets some to go away. And she finds there's mushrooms. Mushrooms all over her room. And mind you, she is inside a prison cell. A maximum security, disciplinary, whatever prison cell, the fucking hole, whatever you want to call it, solitary confinement, whatever the fuck you want to call this part of the prison. You know for a fact they do not clean these rooms well, if ever at all. They never clean them. And this one's like, "Oh, there's mushrooms around here. Sure, they should be good." And she just grabs them, and she grabs like one that were right there. There was one growing on like the side of her bed, and she just grabs and just starts munching them. I'm like, I don't know if Jolene is like some fungus expert. Maybe she knows, okay, these shrooms are good to eat. But I'm like, woman, the balls on this woman. She's like, these mushrooms could either they could be edible, the fair play, or they could do nothing, or they could have her start tripping balls hardcore, or they could just straight up kill her, and Jolene just happily eats them like there's no tomorrow, bro. It's insane, man. This woman is insane, bro. She got that dog in her. Anyway, so afterwards, the prince. That's when, as she's munching on them, a couple of prison guards open up the cell to like, "Hey, it's time for your shower." And so as the door opens up, he turns on the flashlight. And once it hits Jolene's face, she's like, "Ah, my eye, the light!" and hides away from the light. The guards are like kind of laughing. It's all like, "Ha ha, I told you, bro. She's scurrying like a cockroach under the bed. Pay him, bro. $20 as the deal is." The guard tells him that like, "Oh, bro, I only got $15. Why don't I get a discount?" Now that's kind of, I thought was kind of strange and strange that Jolene would, like, once the light comes in there, she just hides from it. Although I think my theory is on why Jolene reacted the way she did is because she's stuck inside this cell. It obviously doesn't really get that much sunlight, if at all, and because of that, her eyes are just naturally adjusted to the darkness. So when you have this bright ass light in her, it just causes her to just like look away and hide from it because of her eyes. That's kind of like my only theory on why she would just run away from the light and hide from it. But anyway, the guard tells him, "Nah, bro, a deal's a deal, pay up." And so then Jolene stands up, and that's when the dude unleashes the water hose on her, and which is like literally it is like a fire hydrant, like water hose. This thing is highly pressured. This should like is used to like take out fires on buildings, bro. And he's using on this one on Jolene, on poor Jolene. So he's unleashed, so he's letting her have it. The guards continue talking about what's the up and under on this like baseball game, and the dude says like, oh, the pitcher and like the reporter, that the sideline reporter just broke up, so it's gonna fuck with him, mess up his game for a bit. They bet to see how long he's gonna last. The blonde guy thinks he's not gonna last the first inning, while the other guy, it sounded like he thinks he would go three innings. I'm not sure. I don't watch baseball, so I don't really know what they were talking about during this part. Either way, man, they eventually turns it on, but he can't get it to close off all the way, and he's just like, ah, damn it. And then like he kind of like gets stuck a little bit, and ends up hitting like the other guy in the face for a little bit before he can finally shut it off. He's like, oh damn, bro, I ain't got another change of clothes. And he's like, oh, sorry, man, this thing's a little sticky. And once that, and then and then he kind of like lightly punches him in his shoulder, the black dude. He lightly punches him in the shoulder. This is when, of course, when Survivor starts to take over and start to influence these two prison guards, and they just like, hey, bro, what was that about? And he like pushes him, then he pushes him, and they keep pushing each other before they just start punching each other. And there was also this one time where like as they were like arguing, I straight up thought the dude said the prison guard with the black hair, I should say rather, just said like, yeah, that's what happens, nigga. I thought he straight up said nigga, but when I checked, I turned on the subtitle, like, wait, did he actually say nigga? But no, he said like liquor or litta, something like that, which I'm assuming is the other guard's name. But yeah, I thought, wait, did I just hear this guy say nigga for a second? I had to check the subtitles on Netflix just to make sure I actually heard that right. Anyway, Jolene, as these guys keep going at it, Jolene is just as shocked as the rest of us on why these guys are fighting. The blonde guy that strip has like his hair reminds me a lot of Jorno. His hair is like very similar style to Jorno. He's like, all right, bro, all right, I'll give you a chance to close if you need some, bro. Come on, Westwood. I've never seen you act like this, bro. Calm down. And then after he thinks, he's like, yeah, bro, good. All of this, like, we're still friends, right? You see his eye glow red, and then he hits an uppercut right to this dude's fucking face, that goes directly into his eye, and like two of his teeth get knocked out, man. That was a pretty nasty punch. And like actually some of the blood actually gets on Jolene too. So at this point, this is when they're really ready to throw down. You see he punches him again, and you see like parts of his skin is missing off the top of his lip, around the bottom, half around the bottom of his mouth as well. The blonde guy's like fingers, bones are like popping, are like protruding out of the skin because he hit him so hard. And this is when the key animation just jump stars in quality. I don't know who was the animator that did the key animation for this section episode, but Jesus, the detailing on this was insane, because we see them both taking up their fighting stances, and the one with the black hair, we can actually start to see some of his it's like some of his muscles, and like the detailing on it looks really fucking good. You see his bone structure as well as his muscle structure as well, and it just looks insanely detailed, man. Like I was actually kind of surprised on how good it looks. Like you guys know, I've given David Production a lot of shit for like cheaping out on the background characters and just making them like blank gray silhouettes for whatever reason, whether it's a time constraint thing, a budgetary thing because of Netflix, whatever the case of the reason for that is, they really went off on this part of the episode, man. And so Jolene questions this is the work of an enemy stand user, and this is when they start fighting each other. And like, bro, they start like throwing punches at each other like they're fucking star platinum and the world. Like legit, when I saw this, I'm like, bro, I'm just waiting for one of them to say, oh no, because they were like punching each other exactly like a classic JoJo fight from part 3 between with Star Platinum, bro. So they keep punching each other. They get like some of them get a couple of punches in. Eventually, the dude with the black hair grabs the blonde guy's foot, and then he just starts pretzeling his body together. Looked honestly kind of gruesome a little bit. He claims his victory. Jolene is shocked like the rest of us on how the hell any of this is happening, and then we get this beautiful shot of Father Pucci as he quotes this verse from the Bible. I think he said like it was Matthew 7:6, I believe is what he said was the verse in question. And we just get this amazing shot of him sitting down. You have like the stained glass behind him. He's mostly covered in shadow as he's holding the Bible in his hand, bro. And just that shot is honestly probably gonna be the thumbnail of the video. Probably, but oh my god, that was such a beautiful shot. Seriously, whoever worked on the key animation for the last 3 minutes of the episode and the storyboards, shout out to them, man. They did an absolutely amazing job here, man. This is also when Fapuji says that he brought over 4 other inmates into the disciplinary holding cell to obviously find the bone. And so this is when the guard opens like a gate. You have a bunch of the prison guards coming out there. Once again, the detailing is insane on the character model. I don't know who was a key animator for this part of the episode, but Jesus Christ, they went fucking off. And we see a bunch of the cells come out, and I'm assuming these are going to be the other guards, or the other inmates, I should say, rather, that Jolyne will be facing off for like the next handful of episodes, if not the rest of this batch of episodes. And once again, we get another shot of Jolyne, and the detailing on her is insane as well. A lot of detail with her hair and everything. It just looks really good, man. I was shocked at how detailed the character models and the overall key animation was for this part of the episode. I was shocked at just how the quality of the art just jumped up in quality for like this last like minute of the episode as we get introduced to the new characters that we're going to be facing up, including a redhead that honestly looks pretty hot. You know, I like her outfit, you know, the pink leather jacket she got there, a bra and like a bikini. You know what I'm saying? She look good, bro. She look good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we end the episode off with the guard declaring that this is Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club: don't talk about Fight Club. I honestly do wonder if Fight Club was already out when when Araki wrote this chapter, and this is just one huge massive homage to Fight Club. These next few episodes are going to be just one massive homage to Fight Club. I don't know. I'll find out when I watch the rest of them, but I thought that was pretty cool, man. Especially if Fight Club was already out here and Araki was just like, you know, paying homage to Fight Club. That would be awesome, man. Because Fight Club is one of my favorite movies, man. I fucking love that movie, man. And yeah, that is where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, fucking amazing episode, man. Especially the last like 3 minutes of it. That part of the episode was really cool with like I mentioned before, with the key animation, storyboards right there, man. Really impressed me there. The rest of the episode is fantastic, man. Definitely curious to know. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of these new characters that we're going to see, what their stand abilities are going to be, and of course how Jolyne is going to fight and defeat all of these people. Should be fun, man. Anyway, guys, overall, we give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe for new. Follow my social media if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.